Film Club.
Andy, it was such a great drink. You'd never think that port and smoky whiskey would go well together, and it was sublime. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much for joining us in another episode of Film Club, the show where we get together every single week and take a look back at some of history's finest. I am one of your hosts, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, Danny Dalton.
I just spilled my beer in my crotch.
For God's sake, every single time we're here, we spill beer.
So we had a little problems with the audio, so we decided to go here. Hence a change of environment. We had shitey aircon. Apart from that, we are doing a lovely film called
Safety Not Guaranteed.
And Safety Not Guaranteed. It's not that well known. You've been on about watching it for ages, haven't you? I've seen it before, and I was like, "Fucking right, we're watching."
I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen the actual film.
It's not with Audrey, with Aubrey Plaza, and it's essentially about two interns hanging out with a guy who's a reporter for a magazine.
Yep.
They find a paper that's on about time travel, bringing your own weapons and stuff like that. Safety's not guaranteed, so they go out and think, "Oh, this will be a funny story." So they go down there to report, and it turns out that the lead writer's out there to find Noel Crush. One of the interns is just there because he's an intern. He's just following the rules. And the other one doesn't know what she wants in life. She's kind of like fell out of life, and she just wants to find herself, essentially. And it's a film about finding yourself for each of the three. And also about the guy played by Mark Duplass, who is fantastic.
Kenneth.
And it's genuinely about his plan, and he thinks government's agents after him. You never know whether he's telling the truth or not. Obviously, it's intended that he's just been a psycho with schizo and stuff like that. And, yeah, what do you think?
So, as per the usual rules in Film Club, spoilers ahoy. So if you haven't seen this film, go watch it. Because the big twist, I guess, for this is that it's about time travel. And what I found really, really interesting was watching this for the first time. At no point did I actually think time travel was going to happen until the end.
It shocks you. You just genuinely go through this film thinking, oh, it's just a film about finding yourself and stuff like that. It's a bit of sci-fi because they genuinely time travel at the end.
Yep.
Or you could argue the time travel or the change location. Either way, they disappear in their little time travel boat.
Yeah, like I'm willing to say it's pretty clean cut, them time traveling. If someone wants to be really pedantic, we don't actually see the effect of the time travel, but then it's hinted that we do see the effect of the time travel.
So the part he's on about is where she meets. What's the name? She's out with Heroes, and she's out of forgetting Sarah Marshall. She is Sarah Marshall. Kristen Bell. She plays Thingy in Frozen. Kirsten Bell.
All right, carry on. I'm gonna look her up.
She's Mark Duplass. Yeah, it's Kristen Bell. I should know that. That's Belinda. It's Kenneth's girlfriend that supposedly died. She got hit by a car window. Then you actually find that she's alive, and you think, oh shit, Kenneth.
She got hit by a car window.
Car that went into her window.
There was just a car window that just went for her.
Ah, fuck you, I'm a car window. I was going to say a really shit cracker, and I'm so glad I didn't.
I don't recognise her from Heroes. Who was she?
Oh, she's the one with the shock power. She's the daughter of one of the scientists. Dude,
Is this the first season?
Third.
So I don't think I watched
No, second.
Okay, what's second?
Maybe towards the end of the first.
Oh, I recognise her.
So she does the Elsa's sister, Anna, in Frozen as well. She sings really well. And she's actually alive. So you think, it's just Kenneth being a bit of a dick there. He's lied to Aubrey Plaza. Yes. Yeah,
it starts to go down the route. Like, you start to think it's the typical crazy guy with big schemes, thinks he can do something, like, magical. Someone believes him, and then he lets him down at the end.
Yeah. And now, first time I watched this, I was genuinely let down. I thought he was just making up excuses. Now I watched it again, I was like, oh, right, he's actually genuinely... Because I didn't know about the time travel the first time, so now I've watched it again. Now I know that time travel exists. I felt more inclined to believe him.
Yep.
And that was really, really weird seeing that second time around, because at first I always thought it was a bit dickish move for his part.
Yep.
And do you feel honest, she lied to him about having the whole press team, the cameras and making a thing about him. And I was just like, holy shit, he actually genuinely might be telling the truth.
Yep.
So I was very surprised at that. Great way to end a film, especially like an indie film like that. I mean, this film, believe it or not, had a budget of £750,000. Yes, they don't have many effects in it, but their locations are nice. They've got some great actors. Yeah. So we're going about the cast. We've got Aubrey Plaza. They were saying I called her Audrey. I do apologise. She's in Scott Pilgrim. She's in Parks and Recreation. Don't know if she's done them before this. Be able to correct us wherever you have the thingy or not. But you have from New Girl, Jake Johnson.
Yeah, the guy who plays Nick in Hugo.
And it was great because although he's got very Nick qualities, he is his own character. He's not Jake Johnson being another Nick. He's Jake Johnson being a different character.
I was really surprised how well he manages to pull off. I like both the performance and the writing of his character because it doesn't fall into like a stereotypical he's the reporter who's not really doing the work, he's just a bit of a dick.
But towards the end...
He is that. He has a character arc. And then my favourite bit, there's this really, really innocuous moment which I thought added so much to his character, is when the FBI approach Aubrey Plaza and he jumps out and he's like, he takes charge. Like he suddenly becomes the protective boss of the intern where he's like, no, like we're doing a report. And then that little bit at the end where like they ask them, so what's the article about? And he's like, I don't know anymore. It comes from a place of somebody who's been doing news reporting for the past 10 years and understands how these things work and understands how much information to give and needs to protect the intern. And what a lovely, like, just little bits that would make his character more three-dimensional.
Not just that, but also the part with, I always call him Arthur, he's called Arno.
Oh, yeah.
When he's trying to get with the girls and stuff, and you think he's been a dick, you think he's been pushing, he goes through his whole film of Jeff's been a dick, you know, like, I was a bit bummed about that they didn't finish off with him and his little crush because they just leave it and he fucks off and he...
That's a bit of a shame. That just kind of, like, it's also, I guess, has its own statement about the passage of time.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's still a bit mature, but... So you've got that. Besides that moment, he's at the end, he comes across a bit of a dick and then he has that... now, and they go on a... Sorry, I'm trying not to make this go louder because I'm going to look down like that. And he's like, Anna's like, no, you're taking the mick, you don't want it. And, you know, he's not. Jeff wants him to... He just says to him, he says in the scene, you know, I want you to, you know, live your life, do it now, do all these times. You know, he gets lucky. And I think that's good writing. I think that's really good. As you said, it's a very good story arc. And I think all three of them, minus Kenneth for the time being, are now Darius, I always call it Aubrey, of course, and Jeff, each have their own like qualities to the film, their own story arcs. It's almost like the three of them, how they go, and they come across so typecast at the start. And yet the swerve. If anything, I dare say that Darius, Aubrey Plaza, has the least contrast how it starts. She still maintains that kind of like that.
I don't know, surely R now gets the least character development in the film.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
He just sleeps with somebody. Like that's kind of it.
That valid point.
And like for him, that is a step forward. That's him experiencing something finally. But he is very much like of the three, the third character.
But it's really interesting to see how Jeff, for me, is the one that takes it the most. Well played.
Yeah, he has a much more windy sort of character arc. Where like he's going back to relive the past, realizes he can't, experiences it in a little way, then butts up against someone who's kind of putting a harsh reality in his face, reacts negatively to that, but then kind of outputs positivity at the end. With one final little
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Amazing.
Do you get that from Fantastic? Yeah.
I was sitting there going, I was thinking, he's doing it. I
think we have to do it in Film Club. And then let's go on about, I don't know what's going on about, do we go on about Darius or do we go on about Kenneth?
I mean, what do you want to say about Darius?
I think he does amazing.
She.
Oh, Darius. Oh, this is what I mean. Darius is such a weird name. I always get mixed up. Right, okay. I like Aubrey Plaza. I think she's fit. I know I say that about pretty much
every single time there's a woman in Film Club.
Nah, she's got a lovely, like, I like how she... I was a bit worried because when you watch Scott Pilgrim, she has a very kind of... I'm going to say this nicely. When you see her in an interview, she doesn't. But the characters I've seen her play before have a very resting bitch face attitude about them. Great example, Scott Pilgrim. She hates Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, she plays very brash characters.
Parks and Recreation, she's not asked about anything. This, she comes across and she has that, like, not necessarily not asked attitude, but she seems very like, like this. And I was a bit worried that, like, she'd almost like typecast into that same character again. She doesn't, because there's some amazing moments later on throughout the film. And I think the best example is when she's listening to the guy play a song, Kenneth play the song, and you see almost like that resting bitch face I hope she hasn't become famous for. You see that change, you see this face change, and she carries so much emotion in her face. You know, you're going about actors are great with their face, you act with your face. That's a great moment.
Most people act with their shoulders.
Is that right?
No, of course it's not right.
I was thinking, what the fuck? All right, okay. So she does it in that moment, and you see how the facial dynamics completely shift. And I was just thinking, that's a fantastic moment. I was so happy because of my previous perception of her characters as opposed to her. I was just really happy. And again, watching it again, I realised that more, and I realised, oh my God, she's amazing. Because I've seen her in interviews since then, and she has a completely different facial dynamic as she does in film.
Yeah, I mean, I think this takes what is normally her typecast character, but then lets that typecast character evolve a little bit more than normal because she's the lead, rather than being like a secondary character. That's appreciated. She plays it very well.
She does play it exceptionally.
And then a fellow who plays Kenneth,
Mark Duplass.
Great, weird performance because like very easily he could have gone overboard. He could have gone the wrong way. He could have made us think he's just paranoid and annoying and a bit of a dick. But that doesn't happen.
He does it really well.
He does. He keeps that fine line of being just likable but weird at the same time.
And I think there's a great moment, and the same with Darius as well when she does it, is when she goes up to him and she just like slinks up to him. And they're on about the milk, is it skim milk? And they're throwing that to each other and they're doing this, have a weird conversation.
The tomato soup.
Yeah, the tomato soup. Yeah. And then there's a moment where later on he does something and he runs away and has that really funny run.
Is this when he talks about the ear?
No, but that's funny. That's when he storms out. That's a bit in your face, but they're in a forest or something and he says, "That's it for today, I'll see you next week." And then he just kind of like does something, leaves her, and he does this weird runaway like that.
Oh, outside the football stadium.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, it is outside of the football, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And I was just like, that's really likeably funny.
Yeah, and it's a very fine line. I think at times it doesn't quite come across by in the film you are on his side for the most part. So one thing I want to mention, we talked about the ending a little bit already, but now that we're back on it for a second, I'm not sure this ends in the most satisfying way it could have.
Okay.
For me, it felt too nicely wrapped up.
Okay.
Just like he was right. He got on board with this idea that he was going to get with her instead of going back for the girl that he was in love with. She, presumably, they were suddenly now going back in time to ensure her mum survived. It was all just a little bit nice, bow on top. It would have been cooler if like the time travel was more ambiguous. Like we didn't need to see them disappear. We could have had something a bit more. Apparently, so I had a little bit of a read around. Apparently, this ending wasn't the original ending written for the script, and was only done after they got the money to shoot those effects.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Apparently, if they hadn't have had the cash to shoot that, they would have shot a different ending.
What, more ambiguous, or do we not know?
I don't know. If there is like a version of the script out there which someone has read, do let us know because that'd be cool to see the original ending to this if it exists.
It'd be keen on that, yeah. It'd be nice if they played more on the, like you said, it ended on a positive part. If they ended up more on the negative parts, like the fact that he went off in a bit of a hissy fit after his old relationship and stuff like that, or like, I keep saying Arthur, thinking in my head, like them going back to the office or what's happened. I don't know. Yes.
Something more ambiguous could have been done with it. Which it doesn't have to be ambiguous, but I think it's personal taste. With my personal taste, I would have rather seen something a little bit different.
But I did enjoy how time travel existed.
Agreed. And I think you are maybe in the majority there because it's apparently this ending which sold Steven Spielberg on the director, whose name is...
You should know, Andy. You should
know. Just been having this conversation.
This is your film club.
Something Trevorrow.
Yeah, Colin Trevorrow.
Colin Trevorrow. Trevorrow.
Trevorrow, I think Trevorrow.
After this, went on to do Jurassic World. So Steven Spielberg saw this, apparently loved the ending, and it was the ending that sold him on getting him in to direct Jurassic World. Jurassic World's a whole other conversation to have. I think it stands as yet another testament of Hollywood taking and crushing an indie director.
Speaking of which, on a slight side note, our boss has gone to see Terminator 2 tonight. So we were really gave seeing it, 4K, stuff like that. He's not so keen because it's 3D.
Yep. Terminator 2 was not shot in 3D. You can shove your 3D up your ass.
Post-processing 3D. Yeah, so for all those Terminator 2 fans out there, let us know what you think. I'd like to go on something completely different that you might not have got from this.
Go on, Monty. Monty Python. No, something completely different.
The music. Did you notice it?
So I noticed at the beginning, when it comes in kind of like almost typical indie guitar plinky music, and I'm on board with that. I love that stuff. Then as the time went on, I didn't notice it anymore. So what did it do?
It helped carry the film. It really helped carry the film.
But it wasn't that same type of music throughout,
No.
surely.
No, it almost like changed, evolved around the moment. But what it really did is it's not montage scenes. It's music carrying a scene forward from one to the other, and then almost like having a little build into the actual like the way she approaches the person, the dialogue and stuff like that. It's the music's done by a guy called Ryan Miller. So I was really like, it sounded like they used actual music. What am I doing there? Actual music, and I was thinking, who's done this? Which bands? I want to see the soundtracks. That'd be quite good. No, it's by a guy called Ryan Miller, and he's played in a band or something. But he did the music for a few other films. So he did the music for a film that's really good, another indie film called The Kings of the Summer, and I really enjoyed that film. I can't quite remember the music for it, so I want to actually watch it again. And he did another one, which I really enjoyed, and I thought I'd have a great soundtrack, called The Fundamentals of Caring. And it was on Netflix. It's the one with Paul Rudd. And what's his name?
Don't know. Steven Spielberg.
You always just say weird names, mate.
Danny
I don't understand
DeVito.
where you get it from. You're a fucking pleb. Craig Roberts, right?
Craig Charles.
You what bloke?
Craig Charles.
No, Craig Roberts, who we did a Submarine. You know, that lead bloke. And The Fundamental Caring, it blew me away because I was just like, what the fuck's Netflix on? When I started realising Netflix production was getting quite high, like, stuff of the films, not just the TV. Sorry, I just needed a burp there. And it was amazing to see this guy just musically carry this film forward. I was really blown away by how the soundtrack sounded. Terrible phrase. But you know what I mean? It really carried the scenes forward for me. And I thought it's not often I find something like that, especially like an indie film. Like, you used to have the blinky indie, but this evolved around the scenes. Lovely. Really, really lovely.
Cool. There's one little bit of trivia time I think I want to add before we wrap things up. You know, at the beginning of this film, when they're all sitting around in a little journalistic hub room, and they pull up this newspaper ad, and it's his ad that says, looking for a partner to time travel, bring weapons, safe not guaranteed, you'll get paid afterwards. So apparently that is taken from a real newspaper ad that ran like in the, I think I want to say the mid-90s.
Right? What, it was like a continuous ad in the paper?
I don't know if it's continuous or if it was just a one-off. And then it became like, I think it became like a meme online later on. Like people picked it up and like when the internet came around and like started posting it around, it became like a thing that people would link to each other. And
they made a film from that one ad?
They've made the film kind of based from that one ad.
That's pretty brilliant.
So yeah, that word for word is what that ad said.
Really?
Back in the day.
That's quite a good trivia time. I like that, mate.
That's all right.
Yeah, it was good, that.
That's what I'm here for. Right. So there's Safe Not Guaranteed. You can let us know in the comments below what you thought of Safe Not Guaranteed, or you can hit us up on Twitter as well. Now, next week, we'll be back once again with another episode of Film Club, but I can't remember what film we're watching.
Well, we've been thoroughly enjoying this season of Game of Thrones, so we thought...
The Dink.
Yeah, The Dink. We enjoy The Dink. Why not give one of his films a shout?
Yes.
Because, you get Game of Thrones, you see Tyrion, he's absolutely blow away, but...
He's also got a new film coming out very soon as well.
He does. So we wanted to visit one of his old ones. It's something I started watching, but it was in that phase of watching films when I fell asleep before bed. So I would really like to revisit, because I remember it being good and I've heard really good things about it. It's called The Station Agent.
So you can join us next week to watch The Station Agent. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you all next week.
Punk's great.
Punk is great. Even this new formula.
We're keeping that in.